You're listening to the Chopped Podcast, episode number 96. Hey everyone, I'm Marley of the blog Namely Marley. Thanks for joining me today for the 96th episode of the Chopped Podcast. You know, this is the podcast designed for people just like you, bloggers who love food. So what do we do here? Well, each week my goal is to share with you thoughts, stories, interviews, everything related to food blogging so we can all learn together about what works with food blogging and maybe even a little bit about what doesn't. Wow, well here we are, PC. That's right, I'm in PC mode. That stands for post-conference. So much work goes into planning a conference, and then one day it comes and you just soak it all up with a sponge, and then it's over and you're in PC mode. So PC mode for me is kind of catch-up time. It's, re-energizing time, rejuvenating, but a lot of catch up too. A lot of things that, I had to put off because I just had to. And now I'm actually able to get onto those things, and it feels really good. So it's all good. But I had such an amazing day at Chopped Conference. Our speakers were incredible. I just heard from so many people how much they loved the conference. And of course, that always makes my day. And I just wanted you to feel a little bit of that experience as well. So this is my top 10 takeaways from ChoppedCon 16, and I wanted to share them with you. So let's get started. Number one takeaway, be personable. This is from Jessica Merchant of the site How Sweet Eats. And she started the day off with some very colorful slides and super excellent points. I loved them all. So I felt so invigorated just hearing her voice. She's so, I don't know how to explain it, peppy and bright. And it just came through that she is so passionate about what she does. So go back to episode 58 and you can hear her for yourself. And I bet you're going to agree. She's so fun to listen to. So one thing that I walked away from after hearing Jessica is to be more personable on my site. In fact, I had started a weekly series a while back, sharing things that are going on in my life and maybe some of the things that I saw throughout the week that I wanted to share with my audience. And I just didn't keep that up. And I think, that was one of the takeaways that Jessica talked about is are you just going to be a food site, or are you going to be a blog where you're sharing your personal stories and sharing, giving opportunities for your audience to connect with you? So I think it's such a good point, and I'm recommitted now to doing that again. And Jessica made me really feel the importance of it. Find ways to be more personable on your blog so people can feel connected with you more than just your recipes. I love that. Okay. Number two, get into social media live. Kristen Doyle, Bev Widener, Monique Voles, Fee Kelnhofer, and Lynn Lovejoy were all on a panel together talking about social media live. And they stuck to these platforms, Snapchat, Instagram stories, and Facebook Live. I know there are more, but those are the ones that they talked about. Okay, I just want to say a confession here. Sometimes I feel like I would like to use platforms like that, but I want the recipe, right? We're into cooking, so we can talk about recipes, right? I want someone to give me this is how you do it. This is exactly how you do it. And then you can just follow that plan. But I don't think social media live really works like that. I think, you really need to be able to just kind of ad lib and get out there and just do it. Again, back to Jessica's point, it will really help your audience relate with you more. And as Kristen said on the panel, there's really nothing to be afraid of, at least with Snapchat and Instagram stories. They go away after 24 hours. So if you just do something that's totally stupid or you hate it, it's okay. It's going to go away in 24 hours and you don't have to live that forever. So I think Facebook Live is a little different. I think it lasts, but I think they're kind of different platforms anyway. So Monique Voles is somebody who uses Facebook Live a lot. She's with Ambitious Kitchen. I recommend, going and looking at some of her Facebook Lives as a good way of, obviously you don't want to copy somebody else, but get some ideas for what you could do with that platform is a really fun idea. Okay, so the next one, number 3, Amber Bracegirdle spoke about search engine optimization. Exciting stuff, right? But here's the thing. Amber was on the podcast talking about this topic, and it was one of our most popular episodes, episode number 34. Go back, check it out. I think after hearing her speak and also after, hearing her on the podcast, it's so obvious why it's so popular because Amber takes such a complicated topic and makes it relatable. It's doable even. So what is my takeaway after hearing Amber speak? Get into some of my old content and give it a refresh. That's what Amber really suggests, is that, Google doesn't really like it when you've got a lot of old content just sitting kind of stagnant. You really need to get some life into it. So for me, that means reshooting some old recipes and then resharing those photos on social media. Sometimes I'll republish it too, but Amber said that's not always necessary. Just getting in there, even if you're fine with the photos, you can just reshare it on social media. Just make sure it's constantly in your queue or at the right time of year. Maybe if it's Christmas recipes, you want to have those back in your queue for social media sharing around Christmas time. So just sharing it out on social media will give some new love to old content. And that's really good for SEO. So that was my favorite takeaway. I actually really enjoy going back through my old content and reshooting some of them anyway, because some of them are really bad. And what I do actually is I will leave one of the old photos and just put a note in there and say, hey, we recently reshot this recipe and here's what the photo used to look like. We're really happy that we've made some progress in our photography skills. So that's kind of fun. Okay. Number 4, video rules. Lenny Vieira, and I'm sorry, Lenny, if I can't say your name right. I don't know what my problem is, but I am a person with a lisp and a former stutterer, so I am not allowed to, say your name correctly. Anyway, Lenny spoke about video and why it's king right now. He and Denise actually spoke to me in episode 24 about some great tips on adding video to your site. Go back and check that one out. They also did a workshop at this year's conference on videos. And if you go back to episode 93, you're going to hear Trevor and Jennifer of the site Show Me the Yummy talk about how their traffic increased after they got serious about adding more video. I definitely felt like I jumped on the video bandwagon after Chopped Conference this year. I am eager to add more to my site, but my main goal is to do it in a way that's fun and adds creativity to my calendar. So I don't know if you know what I mean here, but do you ever feel like, I should be doing this? I should be adding more video. I should be doing more SEO. I should be, I should do this, I should do that. Next thing you know, you're shitting all over yourself. And that's not a fun perspective to do anything. So should you be adding video to your site? Only you can answer that. But if you decide to do it with the spirit of fun and learning, and don't feel stressed out about it. Do it from that perspective, and I think you'll make a lot more progress. At least that's my hope. I actually like to put on some fun music while we're doing the actual recording, and I think that makes it a lot more fun for me. So give that a try. Number 5, working with brands. Okay, so this has been a popular topic on the podcast, so I thought it would be a good one for the conference too. So we had Marae Dunphy of Stonyfield Organics, Lauren Greer of Climbing Greer Mountain, Kara Anzus of Fork and Beans, and Amber Bracegirdle of Mediavine. They were all on the panel, and my biggest takeaway, a lot of people assume brands are only looking for huge traffic before working with a blogger or an influencer. And in reality, they really love engagement. That's what I learned. So this point goes right back up to number 1, being personable. Finding ways to relate to your audience can help improve your engagement, which in turn can help your blog be of greater interest to brands. So I don't know. Here's my thought. I think focusing on traffic can be a little like your weight. It's easy to think that we're only attractive if we're thin, but in reality, learning to love ourselves exactly the way we are and sharing that enthusiasm for life with others, well, I think that's the true path. That's the right path to be on. And I don't know. I think that sounds like a good topic for our Fry Chats, don't you think? Anyway, yeah. So don't focus on the traffic so much as focus on, the engagement with your readers. And I think if you're interested in working with brands, I think that's what they'll find interesting. Number 6, be the boss. So Emma Chapman of the site A Beautiful Mess spoke in the afternoon. What a lovely person. I really enjoyed the opportunity to meet and talk with Emma. She's wonderful. I had so many takeaways from her talk, but the one that really stood out to me, Emma said that if you want to take the switch from hobby to pro blogger, you need to treat your blog like a business. That means you need to have the business side of your blog in order. Okay, so just so you know, I have a graduate degree in business. That's right, I have an MBA. I have volunteered for the Small Business Association, helping small businesses. I've even been a COO and a consultant, and I've worked for a startup company before. Even with all of that, I can still find myself struggling with getting and keeping the business side of blogging in order. I don't know. It's as if the creative side can become all encompassing. And I don't know, let's be honest, being creative day in and day out, it can really deplete your energy if you're not careful. So Emma gave us all a great reminder of why it's important to make sure we reserve some of our energy for the business side of blogging. And I really loved that. It was a great wake-up call for me. And, I think other people in the room agreed that it's an important reminder for us all. Okay, number 7. Another speaker during the day was Ali Ebright of the site Gimme Some Oven. Ali spoke about a lot, and I was very touched by so much of what she said. But my biggest takeaway was this. We are all beautiful in our own ways. So Ali showed the commercial by Dove. Have you seen it? You probably have, because I guess it's like one of the world's most viewed commercial videos ever. I'll leave a link in the show notes page so you can check it out just in case you haven't seen it. You really need to see it. It basically shows women describing their features to an artist who can't see them. He draws their portrait based on how they describe themselves. Then the artist draws their portrait again based on how other people describe them to the artist. Okay, so I'm sure you can see how this is going. But when the two portraits are side by side, the ones that are described by others are more beautiful than when the person describes their own features. So the takeaway here is we are all beautiful in our own ways, but we need to make sure we see our own beauty. We need to learn to love ourselves. Sometimes I feel like we all buy into this notion that there's only one form of beauty, and we're all frantically trying to shapeshift ourselves into that one tiny description of beautiful. And then when we fall short, we're miserable. But that's just hardly fair, is it? I mean, really, there's so many forms of beauty. And I mean, honestly, what if it's not true anyway? Can you imagine a world where you are the definition of beauty? I don't know, like, for example, do you have white hips? Well, what if that was the gold standard of beauty? You know that there was a time in history that was the case. Do you have thin lips? Again, what if everyone wished they had lips just like yours? What if we all saw and embraced the beauty we have in ourselves? I just love the idea of that. So rather than trying to push yourself to be like somebody else, accept yourself for who you are and know that you're beautiful. I don't know. I think that sounds really powerful. So my takeaway here from Ali's talk was love yourself. So that was very good. Okay. Number 8, my partner in crime on Fried Chats, Kara Anzus of the site Fork and Beans, she wrapped up the day by talking about happiness. So what is happiness to you as a food blogger? Is it getting 100,000 followers on Instagram? I don't know where you are on Instagram right now. Maybe you have more, maybe you have less, but what if someone waved a magic wand and you had 100,000 followers right now on Instagram? Wow, wouldn't that be so cool? But here's the question. Would it make you happy? Because how long would it take for you to see someone else who has, 150,000 followers? Or what if other people with 30,000 followers were getting more likes on their posts? Like you noticed that you would go to your particular post and you were only getting 100 likes, whereas somebody with 30,000 followers was getting 300 likes. And you're thinking, well, that's not fair. What am I doing wrong? What if someone who just started Instagram a month ago was surpassing you and they had 200,000 followers? You would feel like that was injustice. I don't know. Maybe you can see where I'm going with this. So I think this kind of thinking can be really dangerous. It's called if this, then that. If this happens, then I will be happy. If I had 100,000 followers on Instagram, then I would be happy. If I could lose 10 pounds, then I will be happy. If I could find the right life partner in my life, then I will be happy. If I could get 1 million page views a month, then I will be happy. Do you hear the trend? It's like all of these things are out into the future and you can't be happy until you get them. But then what happens when you get them? Kara loves to ask this question on Fried Chats. But then what? In reality, Kara reminds us we can choose to find happiness in the current moment. That is the true magic of happiness, choosing to find it in every moment. And of course, obviously there are going to be some moments when we have to allow ourselves to go through feeling sad or angry or upset or whatever. But choosing to find happiness in the moment, I think, is such an important key to being successful in life, being happy in life. And Kara did a wonderful job telling that story and bringing that out. Okay, number 9. Find the magic. So everyone that came to ChoppedCon received a gift. a magic wand. That's because we based this year's conference on the theme of magic. Big magic, like the kind of magic described in Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. So takeaway number 9 is this: find ways to create a little magic in your day every day. For me, that's going out on the back deck and blowing bubbles. Seriously, I do that. I have no idea what the neighbors think of me. And to be completely honest, I really don't care. But for some reason, blowing bubbles brings out, I don't know, a little life in my day. So, if I'm feeling stressed or even if I'm actually feeling happy, I will go out and blow bubbles. I like to watch them float in the air, and I don't know, makes me happy, feels like it adds a little magic to my day. So what about you? What could you do to bring some magic into your day? Could you go for a walk, listen to a podcast? Let's say you could write in your journal or take yourself out on an artist date to a museum. Listening to super fun music is a great way to do that too. You could light a candle. Whatever it is, find ways to add some magic to your day today. Finally, my last takeaway that I'm going to share with you from ChopCon 16, get out. I mean, literally, get out. I realized at Chop Conference how energized I felt just being in a room of like-minded people. I felt so alive, so inspired, and I don't know, what we're doing is hard work and it requires regular doses of big inspiration. And I love working from home, but there are times when I have to get out. I have to get out of my office, away from my kitchen. If I can find ways to be around other bloggers, that is perfect. Maybe we meet for coffee. Maybe I talk with them on the phone. Somehow to get out and to be around other people, other bloggers is really important. So after the conference was over, I met Jennifer and Trevor Depp. They're with the site Show Me the Yummy. I met them for coffee while they were in town. And I love these two. They're so amazing and so uplifting. I really enjoy talking with them. And we were talking about the isolation that a lot of bloggers feel. And we were kind of brainstorming ways around that. And Trevor suggested this idea that I loved. He talked about creating shared work times. Isn't that a great idea? So the way you could apply this would be to connect with other bloggers in your area and, I don't know, maybe meet at a coffee shop at a certain time and just work side by side. We actually have co-sharing, what do they call that? Work sharing spaces. It's like a company here in Kansas City where you can go and I think it's like $15 a day or something like that. And it's got all the Wi-Fi and coffee and you could just sit there and work there. I think it's called like shared working space. And I can just imagine inviting other bloggers to be a part of something like that, to come together and just work together. I think sometimes I agree with Trevor. It's easy to miss that kind of, if you've ever been in an office, there's kind of like a collaboration that can go on. I mean, sometimes the collaboration is too much. Like you're like, I don't want to be in one more meeting today. That part gets old. Or you want to be able to have a private, phone conversation without people all around you hearing it. So yes, there are times when working in an office definitely can get on your nerves. But there are also some beautiful sides to it too. Like when you're all in a conference room, brainstorming ideas together, or just like, I can't figure out how to make this work. And they're right there and they show you a little trick that works for them. So I can see where there's some really cool benefits to that. And so, that's something to think about too, is creating a shared workspace. And maybe it's just at a coffee shop where you're at, 4 of you are at a table working side by side. But it's just an alternative to getting out and doing things that make you feel energized. I mean, really, this is what this conversation is about, is what is it that makes you feel energized? I think for me, it's probably getting out on a regular basis, working from a coffee shop, working from co-shared workspace, whatever. But getting out for me is really important. And it's easy for me to kind of get stuck in this routine of sitting behind my computer. And I don't realize the kind of drag it has on me from day to day. And I feel like, like I say, being at Chopped reminded me like, oh, I like being around people. This is good. So I'm definitely going to make that a goal from now on to get out and about. You all, it's so great hearing from you and how much you love the Chop podcast. You have no idea what this means to me. It really makes my day. And I just want to let you know that we have some really exciting things coming up soon. We're kind of working on some different things. Of course, there's still going to be interviews, and of course, there's still going to be Fry Chats, but we're going to add some fun, exciting things to the podcast as well. And I really, really can't wait to share it with you, but you're going to have to stay tuned and you'll see it when it happens or you'll hear it when it happens. That's probably better, right? Okay. Well, that's the end of today's podcast. I am truly thankful for each and every one of you, and I'm so happy to be a part of what makes your work more meaningful to you and your readers. I can't wait to share more with you in the coming weeks, but for now, just know you inspire me, and I hope this podcast is inspirational to you as well. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.